Hello, I'm going to have a chat to you today about getting organized with your money. So, when I talk to a lot of people that are frustrated about their money situation, the common response I get is that they really want to invest in their future or save for the future, but just can't seem to get there no matter what they do. But the one thing that I've found that's in common with these people is most people have either no plan around managing their money or merely have an intention to, but haven't actually put anything into place or found a strategy to get something into place. Anyway, hi, I'm Michael Scarbossa, personal finance enthusiast and coach, background in railway construction. So I'm not a financial planner, obviously, but my goal is to make money simple by sharing simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you grow your hard-earned money and shortcut your path to retirement. Now, I created this community, Save, Invest, and Grow Your Money, to share everything that I've learned over the past 20 plus years and some of the things that I've learned not to do as well, just to help you. And I continue to learn as well, just to help you get you on the right path to hopefully grow your family's financial strength to give more choices for you and your family and how you want to live life. I'll leave a link in the video below. I've created a free PDF, which is it's a really simple one. I just shared a little bit of my story of the things that I have done to go from no savings to buying my first investment property. I have a number of them now, but it's a really good little story to read with some really great tips for you to go and follow that through. So I'll leave a link in the comments below this video, and you can go and get that for yourself. Anyway, back to what I'm talking about today, and that is getting organized with your money. Now, most people, they have the one money plan. That is the money goes in plan and then the money goes out. And that's it. We've got one account, one bucket, no real awareness of where the money's going. It's just that it goes in and it goes out. A lot of people are simply just living a life and spending money on the next opportunities in front of them, not necessarily thinking about or making a decision around, is this purchase really going to add support the things that I really value in my life, and make those types of decisions around their spending. And particularly in this economic climate as well, inflation's going crazy. Interest rates are on the rise. There's a lot of mums and dads out there. I know you mums and dads are worried about interest rate rises, particularly if you've got variable mortgages on your homes. So when you're thinking about this, it's a really good time to really start going, okay, get some awareness on where you're spending your money, but also setting up a strategy about how to manage your money much better. So, with all of this going on at the moment in the current economic climate, it's no wonder that there are plenty of people out there as the month goes on, further away from your last pay packet, closer to the next one. The anguish kicks in, the stress kicks in around your finances, hoping that you're not going to get a surprise before the end of the month, before the next paycheck comes in. So what I'm trying to do is help you find a way to get away from this stress and anguish. Now, having a good money management plan is a very big step into having an antidote to this stress and anguish, and that's what I want to do. I want to help you get away from that problem that you might have every month. Now, a lot of people, or most people, have got no clue what a good money management plan looks like. Now, the great thing about having a money management plan, once you put one in place, you'll automatically start to create some awareness around your spending. You'll start to take some notice of your spending habits. You'll get by putting this plan in place, you will actually get some clarity on not only your spending habits, but where you want to spend your money in the future. It will help you make probably some better decisions about where you're spending your money and when you're spending it as well. So it's like anything. Once you get some clarity, it's like any journey, right? Once you have a plan, you know where you're going, you know where you're heading to, then you've got some clarity. Who gets in their car, and I know I've shared this before on other videos, but it's such a great cliche. Who gets in their car, jumps in, turns on the engine, drives off, have absolutely no clue where you're driving, or you might know where you want to go, but you've not even looked at a map or turned on your sat nav to work out how to get there. So it's all a bit crazy, and managing your money is no different. Absolutely, you need to put in a plan, put in a roadmap in place, give yourself some clarity so you can get to where you want to get to with your finances. Now, it's really as simple as setting up what we would call some money buckets. Now, setting up your money buckets is nothing new. It's quite a common thing around the personal finance, I guess, realm, financial planning industry to set up your money buckets and really start to focus about where you put your money. And it is really this simple. So I'm going to share with you what I believe are the five basic money buckets that everyone must put in place to get financial success. So I'll just run through those now for you. So the first one is your everyday expenses bucket. So that's the bucket where it's the money you need to spend to be able to live your life. So I'm talking about your food, your fuel, um, your kids' school fees, your electricity bills, any of that stuff that is essential for you living your life. And I throw school fees and like even school uniforms and books in there because what are you going to do? Not send your kids to school? Not send them to school in a school uniform? They probably won't get let in. They probably get a bit embarrassed by their peers. So it's those things that you need to live your life on a daily basis. Now, you could think, okay, well, I need Netflix on a daily basis. Well, you don't really need Netflix, right? You can just watch free to air TV if you want to suffer the ads. But you've got to think about what are those living expenses. I would actually throw Netflix in there personally and can the Foxtel because that's bloody expensive. You don't need all of that. So that's just a little tip from me of maybe how to think about those living expenses. Now, the second one is what I would call a debt reduction bucket. Now, if you don't have any debt, and I'm talking about consumer debt here, if you own your own home and you've got a home mortgage, I'm not talking about mortgages. I'm talking about consumer debt. So I'm talking about credit cards, store cards, car loans, personal loans, 1,000 bucks that you borrowed off Auntie Jane, all of those sorts of things. So that's the money that you spent, the money that you've borrowed and spent. That's not on something that's going to give you money back. Okay, so this is consumer debt. I would like to call it toxic debt. Now, if you don't have any of that, the whole goal of this bucket is kick the bucket. We don't want this bucket, right? So, but most of us do have it. And what we've got to do is you've got to look at your debt reduction bucket and go, okay, let's start putting some money towards getting our toxic debt, our consumer debt sorted out. So the biggest one is credit cards. Okay. So there's a simple question to ask yourself here. Do you pay your credit card off at the end of every month if you have a credit card? If the answer to that is no, time to cut it up. You are not responsible enough to own a credit card. Okay. I like credit cards. A lot of people say credit cards are evil. You shouldn't have them at all. I quite like them. I use it as my expense account. I pay it off in full at the end of every month. I accumulate all of those loyalty points, over time. The loyalty points in the last year just paid for me and my son to go on a holiday. We got 2 flights return, and we got that absolutely free because it paid 100% points. So I don't think credit cards are necessarily bad, but if you don't pay it off every month in full, it's evil. Cut it up until you can be responsible enough to pay it off every month in full. Okay, so that's my thing on credit cards. But what you want to do is you want to try and find that money in this debt reduction bucket and put the money into this bucket that's going to knock over all of those toxic debts. Now, there are a couple of debts here that may be on lower interest rates. Like these days, car loans you can get on quite low interest rates, and there's probably quite a few of you out there with car loans on like 1.5% or something like that, or even your HEX debt. Even that's usually quite low as well, but that's on the increase in line with CPI at the moment. But they're sort of lower cost long term debts. I would focus on the higher interest rate debts, so credit card and personal loans. Get rid of them as quick as possible. These other longer term, like probably larger, lower cost debts, I would try. You still need to pay that off, but you could probably build into some of the other buckets alongside of this as you go. So I'll go on to the next bucket. So none of us like to be, save a Sally and be completely frugal and cheap and just live life like a hermit. So we all like to enjoy life, and life's here to be enjoyed. So The next bucket is a lifestyle bucket. So this is the bucket for the things that make life enjoyable and usually bigger purchases. So things like saving up for holidays. Maybe you're saving up for a new car. I'll put that in there. Maybe you need a new fridge for your house. It hasn't broken down, but it's a bit old, and you just want a nicer looking fridge with one of those little those little ice makers in it. I would put that down as a pleasure purchase, not an emergency purchase or an absolute necessity at this point in time. So I would put those things into your lifestyle bucket, and I would suggest 10% is probably maybe a good number to aim for, but depends on the split between these buckets really depends on where you're at in your financial journey and what you really want to achieve right at this point in time. So if you've got credit card debt, you might want to put the majority of your spare cash or your margin money that you find a way to develop into knocking over those debts, which is a really smart thing to do. Moving on, the emergency bucket. So we all should have this. The emergency bucket is for those things that pop up out of the blue. Car breaks down, washing machine goes kaput, kid's broken a tooth in the schoolyard or something like that. Now you got some dentist bills that is probably over and above your health cover. I don't know, but these sorts of things. Okay, these are the unplanned events. Servicing your car is not an unplanned event. You own a car, it's going to need to be serviced. That goes in your everyday living expenses. Okay, so you plan for that over there. But with an emergency bucket, I think a great goal to really start with is just try and get $2,000 off in a separate bank account, no card attached to it. It just sits there as some cash that you can get at when one day you might need an emergency. So I think aim for 2,000, a really good thing to start with. Ultimately, try and get about 3 months living expenses into that bucket. That will give you so much peace of mind. It's incredible how much peace of mind you get from that when you actually achieve it. I never realized the feelings that I would get because I never had it until I did achieve it. So that's a really good goal to aim for. And then the last one is your investment bucket. So this is the bucket where you're going to take your savings, you're going to put it in that bucket, and this is the money that you accumulate where you're going to decide you're going to do something with it. You might go and invest in a low cost index fund, which is an index fund is something that follows the most of the companies on the share market. So you're getting that it's tracking the share market, or you might want to be saving up a deposit for maybe your own home or your first investment property. This is the place where you go and put that money. Now, I implore you. Okay, I'll just run through that again. The five buckets. Okay, so it's the everyday expenses bucket. You need to work out what that is for you. Your debt reduction bucket. So if you have no consumer debt, no credit cards, store cards, car loans, fantastic. You've already kicked this bucket. Don't need that one anymore. Keep it that way. Your lifestyle bucket. So this is the one where it's those larger purchases, the holidays, the new car, those types of things. Your emergency bucket. That's the one for they truly are emergencies. These are the unplanned events that may happen. Okay, that you may need some quick cash for. And then your investment bucket. So this is the one that's going to grow into the future. This is the one that's going to set up your family's financial future or your family's financial successful future. Anyway, so what I would say is take the step, go and set up these buckets now. Go to your bank, get 5 accounts. Okay, so you've already got one. You could probably use that as your living account. Your income's coming in there now. Okay, go and set up the other 4 accounts so you're ready. You're ready to get this done, and you can and set these up. You need to work out what you can put into them. And you might be sitting here at the moment, look, you're crazy. I'm not even going to bother setting it up because I can't even see where the money's coming from at the moment. You know what? It doesn't cost you anything to have an account sitting there with nothing in it. But just by taking the step, doing the action, it's funny, right? You set this up, then all of a sudden, our human minds, amazing things that they are, it's like goal setting. Okay, you set something up now. Your brain starts to go into solution mode, and you start to think of the ways. Go, okay, how can I start? How can I start just putting a few percent in each of these buckets as we move forward? And it's probably a good idea to look at your spending and and have a look now about, okay, how can I start to, put a bit towards my debts, get an emergency fund going, those sorts of things. And in time, continually reviewing it and looking at where you spend, you'll start to find ways, and hopefully, with some increases in salary as well, you'll start to find ways to put more money in each of these buckets and get rid of those debts. So it's really powerful thing to do that. I absolutely encourage you to do it and regularly look at that, because that's what's going to get you on your successful path financially. So I really encourage you to take action on this. Just doing this alone, setting up those buckets, is a massive step to your personal finance success for you and your family. A massive step. Just by doing this alone, you'll be ahead of most of the people that are out there, well and truly. And this is what will set you on your path to take the right steps to get financial success for you and your family. So I hope you've got a lot of value out of that today. And like I said, I really encourage you to take this step. It's going to make a difference in your lives, I have no doubt. Um, just remind you about that free PDF that I spoke about as well, the steps that I put in place, where I went from no savings to buying an investment property. And I'll put the link in the comments below here so you can go and get that. And that's about it from me. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for listening. And I really appreciate you coming and spending time with me here. And I'll see you next week. Okay. Bye for now.